y'all doing? Now today I'm gonna be reviewing my Dewalt cordless 20 volt 5-inch orbital sander. Now I'm gonna be giving you some pros and some cons, and then at the end I'm gonna give you an overall review on what I think of it, and most important, should you buy it? So without further ado, let's get right to it. Pro number one, and the most obvious, is cordless. So it being cordless is really good for, let's say you're on a work site, a job site, and you don't have easy access to power. This is gonna be great for that. You're not gonna need it. You can just go anywhere you want and you're good to go. Another example, let's say you're sanding your fence or your deck or something like that, and you don't want to run a 20-foot cord to kind of reach that. This is going to be perfect for that. You ain't going to need it. You'll be easy and on your way. Also, it's just overall more convenient for maneuvering it. With a big long cord on there when you're going in and out and up and down and all around something, that cord can get in the way. Now, it being cordless, you can do different things like polish your car. You can buff your car out. I got these little pads that just stick to there really easy, and you can use this and buff out your car. Now, trying to bring a cord one and buff out your car and all those weird angles and everything like that is going to be really tough. Is it doable? Yes. But with this, 10 times easier. Just like me, I live in a townhouse, so it's a little bit harder for me to bring a cord or even, a really long cord all the way out to my car. So this is going to help that. It's going to eliminate that. Pro number two is the grip on this thing. This thing got great grip. I'm telling you, this thing got rubber all over it. I mean, if you're right-handed, left-handed, if you're holding it upside down, you're holding it from the side, you're holding it from anywhere, it's got good grip. So you're never gonna lose grip on it. So it's nice and precise. Now you don't want bad grip, especially with this thing running fast, because if you don't got good grip, it might skirt off somewhere and mess up your project. So I definitely like that. Even the on and off button right here has a grip on it. So even when this thing is full with wood dust or whatever, this thing still grips and performs great. Pro number three is going to be the speed control on here. This thing has a variable speed control. It says from 1 to 7. And this is a really good thing. It's going to help you be more exact with what you're doing. Most of the time you're going to have it on max, just going for it. But, there's going to be different times where you don't want to take off too much material. You just want to take off a little bit. Or if you're kind of just testing, the wood to kind of see what it's going to do with whatever grain you have on here. So it's better to start it off maybe at a medium instead of just going, so it's best to start off a little bit low. So this thing has that control right here to go up and down, and just another thing on there that some of them don't have, especially some of the cheaper ones don't have, a speed control on there. Pro number four is this little dust collector right here. This dust collector works really good. I swear I've sanded it for maybe like an hour or two, and this thing don't even be all the way filled up. Everything's collecting in there really good though. It comes out really fine. So it all collects in there and bunches up really good. Pro number five is the hook and loop on this. Now this hook and loop, you see it's an 8-hole hook and loop. So it fits a bunch of different papers on there and a couple different accessories. Like I said, this polishing pad fits on there, this good hook and loop, so it sticks on there easy and stays on there really good. The pad on there stays on there really good. Even with this polishing pad, it worked really good. I polished out one of my wood projects and it worked really good. I haven't had a chance to do my car yet, but I'm gonna try that one next. It's really easy. You can change your pads back and forth between accessories or different sand grits. That makes it really easy. And with the 8-hole, I feel like it collects a lot of dust in here and works really good. Pro number six is the price. The price isn't too bad. I spent $100 on it. It was on sale. I see that right now it's about $130, depending on where you buy it at. I would probably try to wait until they get it back down to about $100 until you buy it, if this is what you're gonna do. But the price really wasn't too bad. It's a good quality machine. I have seen other ones on there from lesser companies like Black & Decker or that new one Hart from Walmart. But that ain't gonna have the build quality, and you know, ain't gonna stand the test of time like a Dewalt machine. Also, with the batteries, another pro, we can call it 7 if you want, is the 20-volt system. So I have a couple different tools with the DeWalt that all have the 20-volt system, and so I can easily, you know, go boom, go from here, take this out, and I can put it in my circular saw, boom, and then I have a what was that one? An impact driver. Same thing. It's really good that you can, and really convenient that you can go from one tool straight to the next. The next pro is that it's durable. I've dropped this thing on concrete at least 3-4 times, and I don't hear nothing rattling. It still works really good. I've had it for a couple months and haven't had not one issue with it before or after dropping it. Last but not least is the performance on this thing. This thing performs great in any situation. This right here is a very heavy job. I got several layers of lacquer on here, also several layers of stain, and this thing went straight through it. Now, it took a little bit longer than maybe like a belt sander or something like that, but overall, the performance on this thing is great. It can do little jobs, it can do big jobs, and everything in between. Exactly what you need for one overall sander. All right, now let's move on to the cons. Now, there are a couple cons, not as many pros, but there are some cons. The first con I would say is the vibration of this thing. This thing vibrates a lot. I mean, that thing, you have your hand just shake it. But it's not horrible compared to, you know, other sanders or whatnot. It's not horrible. I did find myself having to put on some gloves, those little cheap ones with the little rubber on the outside, and that seemed to kind of take most of it away, and you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. But you don't want to raw hand this, because this thing gets to going, and you feel that through your hand. You know, your hand almost feel tired. The next con is the battery life. Now, if you're just doing something real quick, you know, you're just putting, you know, the final sanding on something like that, you know, that's fine. But if you have some really crappy wood and you're trying to sit here and sand this thing with different grits for hours and hours, this ain't gonna hold up. And especially if they give you, these are the ones, the little free ones they be trying to give you like it's finna do something. This thing worked for roughly 30 minutes. Now, that is on max. But hey, this is what I need it for. You know what I'm saying? So that's real life. I'm gonna be using this on max. So these little batteries right here that they kind of give you free sometimes, garbage. This is good for maybe, you know, if you have a drill or impact driver, you know, something like that. Now, this big one, I got a 2-pack of these, I believe for roughly 150. This one's a 4AH. So it's in the middle of the pack. It's not the lowest and it's not the highest. I think the highest one's like 7 or 8. So those ones are gonna give you a little bit more battery life, but you gotta think of, it's gonna be a little more heavier too. So if you got a bigger battery on there, it's gonna be heavier, and then that's gonna mess up the balance of it. So that's another thing that you really need to look at is what you're using it for. Somebody like me, you know, I use it a lot. I use it and I get, you know, I find cheap wood and I make it look better. So sometimes my boards aren't really good, so I have to sand for hours. And I catch myself running through these batteries. This big one usually is roughly an hour at max. I only have 2 of these and one of these little ones. So that basically I have 2.5 hours to get done my project of sanding. And sometimes it works, sometimes it's enough. Most of the time it's not. So that's a big con to me. Another con is this thing is really loud. I tried to use this in my house when I was doing some of the buffing or polishing on the last project I had. I was polishing out some wood, and it was really sunny and stuff outside. I didn't want to go out there and do it, so I tried to do it in my house, and man, this thing was ringing. My girl's tripping. What are you doing? Are you done yet? Oh my God. But I could understand there. It is pretty loud. So I would definitely use this thing outside, and or make sure ain't nobody in your house trying to complain about it. And definitely have some ear protection, because this thing rings really loud. Another con was one of these air vents. This little air vent right here, if you kind of got it in the wrong angle, it can kind of even go up underneath your glasses, unless you have them really good glasses. But mine, it kind of sometimes, if I had it at the wrong angle and maybe I picked it up or something where this isn't collecting right here, then I would pick it up and this stuff would kind of like shoot towards me. So definitely make sure you wear eye protection. Of course, you should always wear eye protection. Another con is the battery. When it kind of gets low, either the big one or the little one, when they kind of start to get low and they're about to die, the RPMs on this thing change. So it could be going really fast over here, and then by the time you get over here, it could be slowing down, about to die. And then when it does die, if you still have it on the thing, it just stops. And then when it stops, I've caught it a couple times really putting a big scratch in my thing, because that last one is kind of a slow scratch. And even if you don't have that big scratch on it, if you're sanding this one a lot and you're getting a bunch of the material off, and then it slows down over here and it's not taking that much material off, now you got an imbalance right here. So this is going to be higher than this is. So that's one thing I don't like. With a corded one, you're not going to have that problem. It's going to be running at the same thing all day, all night. So overall, I love this thing. It works really good. It's durable. It looks great. The only downside, like I said, is the battery life. So it's going to depend on what you do. If you're a weekend DIYer and you don't use it that much, then this is going to be perfect with the battery. It's a lot more convenient. It's a lot more maneuverable and all of that. So that's a really big plus. For somebody like me, and you're sanding for hours and hours and hours, this might not be what you want. Unless you got a bunch of money to go out and buy a bunch of these batteries. If you have a bunch of money, you can do that. You're good to go. This is a lot better than the corded one. But I don't. So if I could go back in time, I probably would have bought the one with the cord and then bought maybe a bandsaw. So I had the bandsaw to take off a lot of material, and then I have this to kind of take off a little bit and get it more finished. And those two corded is going to be basically the same price as this one wireless or cordless. So it just depends on what you're using this for. Overall, like I said, though, I like the product. It's a good product. I had very small cons, very little cons on it. It's not much to complain about. So I hope you like this review. There'll be more coming in the future. Till next time, appreciate it.